Now at 5, the latest on the Utah mom and children's author accused of killing her husband. The legal issues she's facing on top of the murder allegations. Plus,
flashbacks of 1983 are coming back.
Little Cottonwood Creek flowing fast and high. It isn't expected to slow anytime soon. How homeowners are preparing for the worst. And
these are some of the monsters of the West when it comes to cutthroat trout.
Filling Bear Lake with thousands of fish. How the big release is expected to keep the lake's ecosystem healthy.
Live from Utah's first TV station, ABC4 News celebrates 75 years.
Good evening, I'm Emily Flores.
And I'm Glenn Mills. Thanks so much for joining us. We begin with the latest in the case of the Utah mom and children's book author accused of killing her husband. Kouri Richins scheduled to have her first criminal hearing this Friday.
But that's not the only business she has before Utah courts as her late husband's family moves to remove her from the estate and take custody of the kids. ABC4's Elena Castro live in the newsroom with the latest. Elena?
A big question in this Richins case is what's going to happen to the couple's 3 children. According to court documents, the children are in custody with a family friend. Judge Richard Mrazek is advocating for the children's safety. Although he doesn't have jurisdiction over them, he's trying to do what he can to ensure their best interest.
I acknowledge that I don't have jurisdiction over the kids in this case or any district court case, but I'm not blind or ignorant of the fact that that's their home. Their world has been turned upside down. And if I can press pause for 45 or 60 days and make sure that I don't inadvertently contribute to that chaos, what's the harm?
There is still a lot to unpack in this case, and we discuss it further tonight at 10. Back to you.
Lena, thank you. Turning now to our flood watch. Rising waters from Thistle Creek still causing problems today. You got footage from this afternoon showing crews trying to stop the water from overflowing onto the road. Water breaking through a berm yesterday and is now covering the road along Highway 89, completely closing the junction where Highway 89 and Highway 6 meet.
Woof, all of these images and the high rivers, all of this. Let's head over for a check of the latest conditions with Chief Meteorologist Alana Brophy.
Snowpack, Alana, and storms adding to this problem.
Yeah, not a great combo. That's 2 types of flooding that we're monitoring really closely. The river flooding, which you just saw, but also flash flooding. We've got thunderstorms out there. Taking that live look from I-15 and Paraguna, where you're able to see storm development. Now, we do have gusty winds, and in some places we're seeing thunder and lightning and some spotty, brief, heavy precipitation. Satellite radar gives you a really good idea of what's going on. And as we kind of zoom in, you're able to track that line of storms over towards the West Desert. We just saw a cell come through near Cache Valley and over into Willa County. Eastern side of the state towards the basin, getting some echoes of moisture over I-70 near Green River. And jumping down to southwestern Utah, you're able to see towards St. George, north of St. George, as we head towards that Iron and Washington County line. We've got some activity, and then over I-15 near Beaver. So these storms have the potential to put down some heavy rain, which is why we've got a possibility of flash flooding for the rest of today in all of those areas we love to visit, including Lake Powell, Bryce Canyon, and the Swell. Now, river flooding, that's another area we're focusing on. Weber River showing high, fast, cold waters. Brian Whiteleather sending that our way. Several warnings in effect that include the Ogden River, Strawberry River, Bear River is seeing it in several spots. There's a flood watch for the Little Bear River and for the Weber River near Plain City, Green River on the eastern side of the state. We've got several advisories in effect. Thistle Creek, you just saw that video, and then towards Corinne. Other waterways that are going to see a significant rise that are not under flood alerts are definitely something we have to monitor. That includes different portions of Spanish Fork River and the Weber River, as well as Little Cottonwood Creek, where we find our very own meteorologist Nate Larson out live. Nate, we know this warming pattern has not been good news when it comes to our runoff.
That's right, Alana. So in looking at some of the numbers, with the higher elevation still seeing a lot of snow water equivalent. In fact, checking in on Snowbird's Snowtell site, there's still 60 inches or just over 60 inches of water that needs to melt down. And so we're here at Little Cottonwood Creek, an area that would benefit from all of that runoff. And this is an area that's had flood concerns before. There's the Willowbrook condominiums that the Little Cottonwood Creek runs through. They've had flooding issues in the past. This year, they think they're more prepared. Sandbags line the creek running through the Willowbrook condominium.
Yeah, it's not my first rodeo. Here in 20 years, and as far as preparations go, having it be the biggest winter ever. I mean, flashbacks of 1983 are coming back. And so, there have been sandbagging efforts. We've been, buying a sump pump, everything we can do to kind of get ready for what's going to happen.
Homeowners and the surrounding community have come together to try and protect their property. Matt has had flooding from Little Cottonwood Creek before.
I think we've kind of learned from 2021 when the water came in. I mean, it took out drywall, we had to take out all the carpet, the padding, everything like that, and it was just a lot of work. And
with several barriers of sandbags, sump pumps, and more sandbags, he is prepared for peak runoff.
If we look how much snow water equivalent is still in the snowpack up at Snowbird at the Snowtel station there, almost 64 inches. So if we break that down, 64 inches, peak melt rates are typically 1.5 to 2 inches a day out of that snowpack. That's what's elevating those river flows.
With over 60 inches left to melt down, that means 30 or more days of this marathon of melting snow. Salt Lake County is working hard to stay on top of potential hazard areas.
Right now, very closely, though, are City Creek and Mill Creek and Neffs Creek. And the crews are up there constantly. They're patrolling them on a constant basis, trying to get whatever debris they can out of the creeks, make sure that any choke points that we have don't have blockages, so the creeks can handle the maximum amount of flow possible.
So with warmer temperatures sticking around, the forecast calls for a significant rise in creeks like Big and Little Cottonwood Creeks. And so the best advice a lot of the officials are giving right now is to stay away, keep a good distance from these waterways because they are very dangerous. Live in Murray, I'm meteorologist Nate Larson. Back to you.
All right, we thank you, Nate. In Davis County now, a man from Sunset died at a warehouse in Clearfield. We're told this happened yesterday. Police saying when first responders arrived to the Americold warehouse, they found the 38-year-old pinned between a forklift and freezer shelves with his coworkers trying to help out. Responders freed him, and he was taken to a nearby hospital where he died shortly after arriving. Police are not identifying the 38-year-old victim out of respect for his family.
Wildlife experts are filling Bear Lake with thousands of cutthroat trout, the fish population telling us a lot about the health of nearby rivers and ecosystems. ABC4 Northern Utah correspondent Cade Gardner at Bear Lake telling us more about these fish and how wildlife experts are helping them succeed.
Bear Lake is undoubtedly a unique place, and not surprisingly, so are a few species of fish that call the lake home.
These pictures show 107,000 Bear Lake cutthroat trout being released into the lake at the North Beach. These fish, like their name suggests, are native to the area. The Utah Division of Wildlife Resources collected the eggs from waters nearby last spring, raising them until release. This is done for a few reasons. There are a few fish species only found in the lake. The trout is the main predator and keeps the other species in check. They're also huge in size, getting upwards of 20 pounds, which makes them great for fishing. And they act as a sign of the health of the small streams and tributaries nearby.
Number that we're stocking now is really about a third of what we used to stock. And what it is really indicative of the success that we've had rehabilitating those streams as nursery and spawning habitat.
Altogether, there are 4 species of fish that are only found here at Bear Lake and nowhere else naturally in the world. Reporting from Bear Lake, Cade Gardner, ABC4 News.
If you live in Utah County, there's a new and improved place to donate blood. The American Red Cross of Utah opening a donation center in Lehi today. It's replacing the Orem location, which was built in the 90s and struggling to meet blood and platelet demand. The new center, bigger and has more platelet donation machines. Now, we spoke to the medical director of the American Red Cross, who was one of the first people to donate platelets at the new donation center. He says there was thought put into the smallest of details.
There's lights in the ceiling. Makes sense, right? You know where there's lights aren't? They're not right above my head. So as I'm laying here doing this platelet collection procedure, I don't have a light right in my eyes. It's actually very nice and thoughtful.
Can we get the studio to do that? Platelets are tiny cells in blood that form clots to stop bleeding. They are essential to surviving and fighting cancer, and they have a short shelf life. So the Red Cross says donations are very important. If you want to donate, you can make an appointment by visiting the website that we have right there at the bottom of the screen.
Okay, and in Grand County now, the Crystal Geyser is erupting for the first time in years. So if you want to see it, now's a great time to plan a trip. The Utah Division of Water Resources posting this photo of the geyser found near the Green River, an hour northwest of Arches National Park. The geyser is clearly bubbling up over the rocks. The DWR is saying that this year's wet winter may have raised the water table and increased the amount of carbon dioxide gas, which powers the geyser.
Still ahead, the first responders you probably don't think of, how UDOT's incident management team can be the first to arrive and save lives. It's tonight's Behind the Badge.
Great shot coming from Iron County. Thanks to Judy for sending it our way. We've watched how these thunderstorms have bubbled up, and yes, it starts in the higher terrain, but we've seen those storms become more isolated in different portions of the state. We're tracking them and what to expect for the rest of your work week coming up in Utah's most accurate forecast.